Bayonetta is a game that's essentially Devil May Cry but Dante as a stripper. We begin with a cinematic from the olden times where Bayonetta was an Umbra witch and was killed off by a girl who looks like Princess Leia. But at this point we don't have any context. We'll come back to this moment another 40 times before we know what's actually going on, because Bayonetta has amnesia like the plot of a cheap 80s porn film, and is going through the game slowly remembering stuff about her life. All she knows that she is a witch and was released from a casket in a lake 20 years ago and has been doing nothing but faffing about since. The gameplay starts as Bayo and what is definitely the girl who killed her 4 seconds ago are fighting a bunch of angel demon things on top of a clock. That's clock with an L, we're not getting that raunchy just yet. Then a funeral happens where Bayo and a guy named Enzo, who is essentially Joe Pesci, are burying another guy, and then a bunch of angels show up and ruin the funeral, and Bayo beats them all up and they drop a bunch of Cheerios on the floor. Bayonetta is a very over-sexualized character. Everything she does in some way is flirtatious, seductive, or straight up shoving her arse in your face. She pole dance, licks lollipops, puts enemies through BDSM torture, and gives away her OnlyFans content to finish off bosses. Though her dress is made of her hair, so I don't know if that counts as getting naked or if she's just a well-groomed cousin it. It's very much lads content though. I've never personally seen the appeal of being aroused by game characters. To me that's like having a wank to origami. None of it's real and you're gonna end up giving yourself paper cuts. The guy comes out the coffin and is like, ta-da! It was all a prank, bro. I'm not really dead. Then Enzo gets his car smashed in and drives away ready for a big chase sequence. Then that woman comes back. I don't know if she's her sexy friend, her sexy sister, her sexy mother, or all of the sexy above. And she tells Bayo that she's a super weak baby and keeps talking to her like she knows what's going on, like when your family members talk about Janet from down the road who you've never met and you just smile and nodding, absolutely oblivious. Bayo is upset and drowns her sorrows in the pub with her not dead mate who keeps talking like he's trying to get me in bed, after remembering that John stabbed her, which we've known from the first 10 seconds. Cutscenes in this game are weird. Everything is taught through PowerPoint presentation. I think all of the budget went on capturing pole dancers and making a badass soundtrack, thus making these visuals quite jarring. Bayo goes to Purgatorio, which is a lot like Purgatory, but that has a copyright on it and they don't want to get in trouble, though I'm sure Purgatorio is a type of pasta. This is a plane of existence outside the real world where you can move around and act like a ghost, do exciting things like ruin a man's newspaper reading on a bench because the bench spontaneously combusts, or fart an elderly woman's face without her knowing. But this plan is foiled by the world's biggest simp, Luca. Luca is one of those special kinds of simps. He goes beyond subbing at tier 3 and spending his life savings just for Bayonetta to say his name. He can smell it in Purgatorio and is desperate to get himself a photo without having to stand 6 feet away Avril Lavigne style. This guy is hunting Bayonetta for more than just feet pictures though. He thinks that Bayonetta killed his dad when she was rescued from the lake 20 years ago because a bunch of ghost stuff happened they couldn't see and Papa suddenly died. So he puts 2 and 2 together and makes 69 and now we're in this pickle. Then John has a fight with Bayo doing the copy-paste Dante Virgil gimmick, despite Bayo kicking her ass. She's like, nah, that didn't count, you're still shit, fight me for real next time, before turning into an animal, and Bayo's like, ooh, that's cool, I'll do that, and becomes a dog or something. And Bayo has to protect a child who looks exactly like her and calls her mummy, which I expect more from Luca to be honest. Bayo is like, I'm not your mum, and the game quickly devolves into an episode of Jeremy Kyle. Bayo isn't winning this argument, so goes on a way to take the child to the orphanage before an angel monster comes and starts chasing them. Then another angel disguises herself as Bayonetta and steals a child, and then this thing kicks my ass because I'm useless at playing games. It can be quite punishing at times. Bosses usually have quick time events, however I like to refer to them as psychic time events because seriously what the hell, I had 0.1 seconds to react to this prompt before being one hit killed. Every time you die, which for me is very often, a woman shouts, "The shadow remains cast!" like the most generic 2003 metalcore song you'll ever hear. Luca gets the child and is threatening to take her to social services, and Bayo's like, cool, your problem now, I'm gonna fight more things with a dozen upside down faces, then rides a bike and starts remembering more stuff from her past, like how she's half Satan, half onion, half witch, and is essentially a 500-year-old muggle, and John wasn't a sexy friend, sister, mother, but was instead her sexy mentor, who was walking her through a rite of passage, and then they had another fight because why not? With this new knowledge, Bayo protects Luca and the child in Purgatory. The child can see her but Luca can't, so he steals her glasses like Velma from Scooby-Doo. Then he realises that Bayo didn't kill his dad because he couldn't see what was actually going on and made up a bunch of nonsense in his head thinking that his dad died from ghost farts from Bayo. Luca gets a one-way ticket to horny jail trying to cop a feel, thinking that he can redeem himself with some super cool acts of heroism which lead to him eating shit and throwing a child into even more danger in the world's worst Spider-Man impression. Bayo and John fight again, but an angel comes by and is like, hi guys, and ruins the fight. John says Bayo needs to prove that she's not shit, so she goes and gets some gnarly waves and fights an angel and feeds it to her pet hair spider. Everyone is in a helicopter now because reasons, and Luca stares at a pair of tits for a solid 5 minutes until they blow up. The helicopter, not the tits. And Bayo rides a missile. No, not like that. Okay, maybe a little like that, to the rest of the journey. John and Bayo fight again, but this time they're playing for keeps, and John is like, I was the one who stabbed you 500 years ago, and Bayo's like, I know, but there was a reason behind it, and John didn't want Bayo to join the naughty eyeball people because Bayo is a filthy mudblood that had to be locked away inside of a jewel that she's wearing around her neck, so how she locked it away inside if she's wearing it? John then channels her inner Beyonce and has a costume change midway through the fight, but it's not enough and Bayo gets the win. The child calls out that Daddy's here. He's finally home after buying cigarettes 500 years ago, and it turns out that Daddy is just a dude in a Phantom of the Opera mask with a monocle and a dressing gown on. His name is Father Boulder. The only Father Boulder I'll accept is Chris Redfield, thank you very much. Then Daddy eats the child. He puts the child inside him. He becomes the child. I don't know. Bayo hasn't got time for this and shoots him with a lipstick, rescuing the child and taking her back to her own timeline. And it's like, nah, you stay here, I've got better things to be doing, like not looking after you. Also remember to put these lottery numbers on so I can get £1 million, please. And then Bayo gets indigestion for creating a time paradox where Bayo grew up to become John's best mate and they had a fun time together instead of her getting killed, and she never put on that lottery ticket. Then Bayo and Boulder get sucked into the eyeballs of a statue that's a god, and John needs to save her like the super sexy friend she is, and the statue blinks Boulder into it like it's trying to get rid of an eyelash, and then suddenly we're on the last boss, fighting a statue inside of a hamster ball that turns you into a child and punches you to death. Upon its defeat, it is launched into space and goes past all the planets until it hits the sun. But it's not over yet, as Bayo and John need to punch it to death 1 million more times. Now it's turned into an asteroid that's coming for Earth with a bit of a tan. Then there's a funeral, this time for Bayo, and I have no idea how we got here, and she's not really dead. A long amazing dance number happens, and we're done. And if you're not done, let's quickly wrap this up, shall we? Booty, 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 titty, 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 climax. Now go grab yourself a Kleenex and press like and subscribe and tell your friends about the video, not about your Kleenex instant. Hi, this is AK here. Thank you so much for watching this video on Bayonetta, bit of a tongue-in-cheek, bit of a sassy time. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and do other things with your thumb as well, but not poke yourself in the eye with it. And yeah, comment below with other games that you would love to see me cover in this Poorly Explained series. If you want to see more of me, I'm live on Twitch every Monday and Wednesday night UK time. I do all sorts of silly games. Anything you see me cover on here, I'm likely doing stuff like that on Twitch. Come and pop by. And yeah, if you want to see more stuff, here's some like cards and stuff on the screen now. Like, look, there's a Silent Hill there. Go and watch that one. That one's really good. Everyone's talking about Silent Hill these days, and that thing there is about subscribing. Go and do that thing. And until next time, keep on dancing. Bye now. Bye bye bye. Bye bye bye. Bye bye bye. Remember to do something. Bye.